Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Güney Afrika Müslümanlarının kıymetli önderleri,
distinguished leaders of the Muslim community from South Africa, distinguished representatives of NGOs, my dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen,
Esselamu Aleyküm ve Rahmetullahi ve Berekatuhu. Öncelikle hakkınızı helal edin. Görüşmeler sebebiyle
first of all,
aranıza katılmam gecikti.
I have had a delay,
Eğer hakkınızı helal ederseniz bizi de rahatlatırsınız.
and
Her yerden helallik gelmedi.
I would like to ask for your kind blessings.
Değerli
I
kardeşlerim,
guess not everyone
Sahra altı Afrika'nın
was willing
ekonomik ve ticari
to give their blessings.
Güney
The
Afrika
economic and commercial
bölgesinin
power of
lider
Sub-Sahara
Güney
region
Afrika Cumhuriyeti'nde 7 yıl sonra
and
bir kez daha bulunmaktan büyük bir
in
memnuniyet
the
duyuyorum.
Republic of South Africa, I am very
Bir kez daha
pleased to
İslam
be back
İşbirliği
after 7
Teşkilatı
years.
dönem
Using this
başkanı olarak
opportunity,
şahsımı ve
I would like to
ülkemizi BRICS Liderler Zirvesi'ne davet
state
eden Sayın
that I would like to extend my thanks to Mr. Ramaphosa for inviting me as the term president of the Organization of Islamic Conference, and hopefully we will meet and have our bilateral meeting.
sadece
Our
iki
overseas
ülke arasındaki
visits
resmi münasebetlerin
do not
ilerletilmesi
only
bağlamında yaklaşmadık. Böyle de yaklaşmıyoruz.
mean
Bu ziyaretler bizim için aynı zamanda o
a tool
ülkedeki
for us
kardeşlerimizle
to improve our
aramızdaki
bilateral relations.
uhuvvet
Such
ve
visits
muhabbeti güçlendirmenin,
also is
dayanışmamızı
a
daha
method
da
for us
pekiştirmenin
to further
bir
strengthen
aracıdır.
our solidarity.
Nereye gidersek gidelim,
No matter where we
imkanlar
go,
dahilinde kardeşlerimizle
in line with the
bir araya
means
gelmeye,
at hand, we
onlarla
try our
gönül
best to come
köprüleri
together with our
kurmaya
brothers
özen
and
veren
sisters and construct bridges from one heart
siz Güney
to the other.
Afrikalı
And
kardeşlerimizle
with this
buluşmayı,
principle,
hasbihal
we
etmeyi,
are here
özellikle
and we have come
Rabbimle
to
buluşmamızı
gather with
İslam
my
ümmeti açısından
dear brothers
hayırlara
and
vesile
sisters
kılsın diyor.
from South Africa.
Güney
May
Afrika'nın
this be auspicious
dört bir ucundan
for us all. From all corners of South
sofrasını
Africa,
teşrif eden
we
siz
have
kıymetli
many
misafirlerimize
participants who have
teşekkür ediyorum.
made it here, and I would
Bu
like to
vesileyle
extend my special
24
thanks to
Haziran
each and every
seçimleri
one.
sürecinde
During the elections of
dualarıyla
20 July
bizlere destek
24,
olan,
there were many
seçim zaferimizin
who supported
ardından
us with their
mesaj gönderen
prayers
tüm
and who
dostlarımıza
delivered
tekrar
us
şükranlarımı
their
sunuyorum.
messages after the victory obtained in the
sevincine,
elections.
buradaki
And I would like to thank them
kardeşlerimizin de ortak olması
as well.
bize
Our brothers and
güç ve
sisters
cesaret
shared
veriyor.
our joy, and it gives
Sizlerin
us more
muhabbetinin
power and courage that
teveccüh
they
ve kadir
stand with us.
şinaslığının aynı
Uh,
zamanda
your
büyük bir sorumluluk
kindness
olduğunu elbette biliyoruz.
is, of course, on the other hand,
Siz kardeşlerimizin de
is
teveccühüne mazhar olmak için
is a
gayret edin.
responsibility for us, and
Rabbim
we try
sağlık
our best
ve
to
imkan
deserve
verdikçe
that kindness
Müslümanlarla beraber
that you have
tüm
bestowed
insanlığın
for us.
refah, huzur
For
ve
the whole
insanlığın
humanity,
bu noktada
including the
esenliği
Muslim,
için çalışmayı
we will continue
sürdüreceğiz.
to work for the welfare
Dünya 5'ten
of the
büyüktür
world.
diyerek
We said the world is bigger than
bayraklaştırdığımız hak ve
5.
adalet mücadelesini
Our fight
kararlılıkla
for
devam
justice
ettireceğiz.
and equity will
Biz işte bu
continue
niyet ve
decisively.
özlemle
With this
Afrikalı'nın da,
feelings and longing,
Filistinli'nin de,
we
Bosnalı'nın
want
da,
all,
Suriyeli'nin de,
including
Arakanlı'nın da,
the Bosnian,
Türkistanlı'nın
the
da
Syrian,
yanındayız.
the Turkistani, and everyone. And we stand with them all.
Dünyada zulüm bitene,
until the oppression comes to an end in the world, when the oppressed starts smiling, and when the tears shed by those stop, we will continue with our struggle. As Turkey, for the past 16 years, we have been paying due attention to improve our relations with the African continent, and we have taken many steps forward so far. 2015, during my office duty as the Prime Minister, was declared the year for Africa. And then in Istanbul, and then in Malabo, the capital of Equatorial Guinea, we organized 2 summits of Africa, and from different corners of the African continent, from different religious sects and groups. We have had many participants with whom we conducted a lot of meetings, and the number of our embassies increased from 12 to 41 across the African continent, and the number of the consulates increased from 10 to 33, including South Africa, across the continent. TİKA, National Education Foundation, Turkish Airlines, and Yunus Emre Foundation operate, and we are at your disposal. And we are trying more compared to the past, and we have more means at hand to further strengthen our relations. And the number of the people who visit our country every passing year follow an ever-increasing trend. Thousands of South African brothers and sisters paid visits to the surrounding countries over Turkey. They, by this way, see the apple of eyes, Istanbul, and have their chance to visit. And we know that many brothers and sisters have had the opportunity to visit Turkey and Istanbul. I would like to underscore one important thing. Being brothers and sisters means we should be in contact. We should be aware of the troubles that the others face and the joy that they cherish. Otherwise, it won't be true brotherhood. Colors, languages, borders, ethnicity. Aren't the elements for us to distinguish one from the other, and our Prophet made a similitude. Such as the human beings constructing a whole structure, each representing a single brick. And this is a struggle of brotherhood for us all. And that's why every opportunity for us to reinforce our brotherhood is of crucial importance, in my opinion. And hopefully in the forthcoming periods, with the solidarity between South African Muslim community and Turkey will be reinforced, not only in bilateral matters, but also in various other subjects, starting from Islamophobia and our cause about Palestine, We have a lot to share, and we have a large platform to cooperate on. The South African Muslims come from a tradition of bravery, starting from the Palestinian issue. In all subjects related with the Muslim world, South African brothers and sisters have always adopted an active role. And in Syria issue, South African Muslims, despite the fact that they were thousands of kilometers far from the region, they never left their brothers and sisters alone, while the West imprisoned some refugees, and they didn't act, even though they saw babies washing off the shore. You did your best. And for our Syrian brothers and sisters, you were always there to support the fight of our Syrian brothers and sisters. And in Turkey, we have been welcoming more than 3.5 Syrian brothers and sisters, and we have always stood with them in the most challenging days. When the refugees were left to death in the Mediterranean, we have allocated more than $32 billion. The oppressed, the Syrian oppressed, were never left to the hands of terrorist groups or those who follow those terrorist groups. And hopefully we will continue with our solidarity with all the oppressed across the world. In the global scale, our brotherhood, our sincerity, and of course our foresight are being tested. The Muslim world and the minorities are going through very challenging times. Inequality in income, internal conflicts, poverty, illiteracy, ignorance, political instability, dependency to external parties, and loss of self-confidence are some of the problems we have been facing. But just like a small worm would make a tree collapse, the main trouble that would make Muslim communities collapse is the terror and sectarian conflicts. And we, as the Muslim people, should be always alert against those sources of unrest. Some projected terrorist groups are killing innocent people, attacking mosques and slaughtering people during Friday prayer, putting dynamites underneath the brotherhood of the Muslim. Such terror groups, if you will, the project terror groups, are sprouting across different lands, and when their identity is disclosed, they leave their position to some others, and the opposite of that is the brotherhood of the Muslim. Al-Qaeda in Pakistan and in Afghanistan and all around the world has done nothing but shed the blood of the innocent. Daesh gave the biggest damage to Syria and the region, but in total to the Muslim world. And similarly, Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab, like groups, pointed their guns firstly at the Muslim. And in our country, FETÖ and PKK, like organizations, are the groups that only slaughter their own brothers and sisters. They are the places of malaise, disorder, and in South Africa they also are present. And under the disguise of Islam, they made the biggest hit on the Muslim world. And these are the people that martyrized more than 250 brothers and sisters of ours. And these are the people who bombed our parliamentary building and our presidential complex and special forces. They martyrized 46 police officers. And these people have abandoned our country, and some of them made their way to Africa, to Europe, to America, and settled down here in this very place as well. But it is not always possible for us to articulate it to our brothers and sisters, and that is why we need your support, because they are real terrorists. And in our opinion, there's no difference among terrorist groups, and it is not possible to differentiate one from the other. And in our book, all the oppressed, all the innocent people are the same. We are against all the dictators who shed the blood of their own citizens, and we are, in a similar fashion, against that herd of murderers. These groups only try to plant the seeds of depravement, and we have a lot to do and a lot of responsibility to shoulder, the opinion leaders included. And we should know about the expectations and the disappointments of our brothers and sisters, and we should never allow those terrorist groups and individuals to abuse those dreams and expectations of our brothers and sisters. And the experience of South African brothers and sisters is of great importance, because for years you have resisted against the apartheid regime. And the biggest support to South African administration was provided by you all, financially and spiritually. And on that path, Imam Abdullah, like scholars, fell as martyrs, and many other children of yours. So in the fight for justice and equality, you know what is to be done. From 1994 on, this country of a rainbow hosted proud people, and you have been coexisting with the other members of other groups in peace, and you should never allow this be damaged. The sickness of racism and discrimination should never be allowed to leak into the structure of the Muslim community. In our belief system, there's no discrimination to be made based on the skin color of people, and it can never be deemed as a reason for superiority in any group. And a believer can only be superior to another by means of fear of God. And as the Muslim, we should all bear that sensitivity, and it is vital for us all. And we know the beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, stated, this is how we will live on. The Muslim are sure about the others. the language they will use, the acts they would embark upon. So the South African Muslims, as they have done so far, will continue to be active and strong in economy, in trade, in commerce, and in other fields. Your anti-apartheid struggle should be known in the future, and it is more important for it to be appreciated in the future. That struggle and the spirit that came out of it should be owned up to, embraced. It is difficult to distinguish an egg in a sack of lemons. It is important to find the oval stone there, and it is only possible with insight and foresight. And a Muslim person cannot be stuck by the same spot in his body once he experiences that pain. As a country who had more than 30,000 martyrs for more than 30 years, we have drawn a lot of lessons, and we are warning our brothers and sisters, and we do not want our brothers and sisters to pay the same price as we have. The biggest predicament that Turkey overcame is that military coup attempt that took place on July the 15th, 2016, and this is was one of the biggest nights of treason against our country. And we know that our South African brothers and sisters prayed for us, shed tears, and also prayed. Following the coup attempt, again, our brothers and sisters published certain declarations to support our country and me in person. And on this occasion, I would like to extend my special thanks to my South African brothers and sisters for their solidarity. Our country will never forget that heinous act. And we know that the structure, the group behind that coup attempt was FETA. For 40 years, they used certain terms like philanthropy, donation, or Islam, but infiltrated into the institutions of our country. The hostility they had against our country came visible with our 1 minute move at Davos summit. And they did their best to leak into our institutions. And when this was falling short, they directly made a coup attempt. And the one who orchestrated, masterminded the coup attempt is the head of that group who lives in Pennsylvania. And they live in those areas for years. They use the educational institutions and educate the people for their own good, and as well try to take a hold of the administration of the countries they live in. And they do the same in South Africa. This is an operation of leaking into the structure of a state. Those who pointed their guns at us are some terrorists with uniforms who sold their souls to devil. In educational institutions in South Africa, they try their best to attract the Muslim on their side, and we are fully aware of that. As a brother to you all, I think it would be proving fruitful if I make a warning. Do not be mistaken by the masks they have on their faces. Lies are the biggest tools they used, as well as hypocrisy. And in their understanding, there exists a triangle: prayer, trade, and treason. That triangle is very much dangerous. They start with prayer, but they do their commercial activities, and they finalize their activities with treason. If there are those who send their children to the schools that these people established, the sooner you save your children, the better it is for you. And let me frankly say, for the future of the Muslim in this country, being precocious about that is of vital importance. And we have the managers, the directors of the foundations in our delegation with me, and they have been running many activities for the good of the society, and hopefully we will be reaping the fruits of their activities and save our children from them. Despite all the pain and treason we have experienced in Turkey, we have been running our activities to fight against that group in line with justice. And in South Africa, we have taken all our steps forward to ensure that the institutions are closed down. And I would suggest you be aware and alert against their possible actions. And before I finalize my words, I would like to extend my special thanks for your participation, and I suggest you visit Turkey and prefer Turkey for the education of your children, and participate to the activities initiated and run by our institutions in this country. And in the future, I hope that we will have the chance to come together, and may God make our solidarity, our brotherhood stand forever. And as reckoned, we have inaugurated our new embassy building. In case of a problem, our embassy is at your disposal. May Allah protect our African brothers and sisters and our brotherhood. Let me say, if I will pronounce it correctly in African language.
Doğru mu? Sağ olun, var olun.
Thank you very much indeed. Stay in peace.
Fi emanillah.
And blessings of God upon you all.
Selim, şimdi ne yapıyoruz? Öyle mi?